Appamada's programs and facilities are supported through your generosity. Your support really does make a huge difference. You'll find a link for contributions on the website at appamada.org/contribute. Thank you so much.
Good morning.
Good morning.
It's really nice to see all of you, your faces, and everybody on the other side. And at the same time, we are all connected and everything is the same. So it's not there, it's not here, it's all us. And it's part of that, no? This poem. So if my voice goes a little down, just please raise your hand so I can to just tell me because
you can just look at the laptop because then they'll see you looking
okay.
down.
So here, okay.
Okay.
I'm not going to see that.
That's when we can see them.
I cannot see that. Okay. So this is it was nice yesterday. Robin took us to the beginning of Jing Jing Ming and writing and play a little bit with that and seeing how Flynn did all these different ways. So, and we're still doing that weight of that Jing Jing Ming. So the part now that we're going to the Jing Jing Ming is this section that I'm going to read to you. Sorry, I keep the tendency going that way. Okay. So don't get tangled in the world. Don't lose yourself in emptiness. Be at peace in the oneness of things, and all errors will disappear by themselves. You don't live the Tao. You fall into assertion or denial. Asserting that the world is real, you're blind to its deeper reality. Denying that the world is real, you are blind to the selflessness of all things. The more you think about these matters, the farther you are from the truth. Step aside from all thinking, and this is nowhere you can go. And I was just thinking yesterday, when we start sitting here and suddenly all the noise and I was feeling like that, I'm sorry, I was noticed that. And you know, this is part of the practice. You know, it's to be present with all that. And that's what Jing Jing Ming is talking about. So the Jing Jing Ming in personal is one of my favorite poems, and I always carry with me my cell phone, and it will always help me in very difficult times in my life. It's just reading and just keep reading and just bring me that opening. So Shen Zhen is one of the masters. He translates the line as "do not pursue conditioned things, relative. Do not abide in acceptance of emptiness, the absolute." So our conditioned existence is always trying to reach out or getting entangled in and getting seduced by whatever it comes into contact with. That's where we are always, constantly, no? Like, why is so noisy? I cannot hear. The video and the practice didn't open for me today. It was just all that. So how can we be with all that? So that's what it's talking, the being in the relative, in our own everyday life, and not to be in the absolute. Our conditioned existence is the internal chatter through which we are getting entangled with the outer world, according to our own preferences. Preferences is always there with us. And I remember one time Flynn said in one of the inquiries, the preference is not a problem, because it's not that we want to get rid of the preference. They're always going to be there. It's how we relate with the preferences. So we're always with that, no? How the world should be or should not be. Should I wear this? Should I not wear this? Why is this? Why is not this way? So we are constantly with this chattering in our mind. So in our modern lives right now, we have more access to good things and information. So this access to other things has entangled our lives in a way that we don't understand. And yet, underneath all this access, there are feelings of anguish and alienation that they are real, but don't seem to address the basic feeling of lacking. I have a new cell phone, it's not working, now I need a new one. You know, it's all those things with technology, social media. And this point is very old, and he's talking about that. So in that time, they have those struggles too, but we have more now with technology. So as we cling to our preferences of external things, we can cling equally to feelings of alienation, even to silence. So this is very important because when I grew up in the Catholicism, and when I start introduced like probably more than 20 years or 25 years in the Buddhism, so my mind immediately was saying, this is the right thing. Buddhism is the right way to live. Catholicism is not, because all this. But I was completely separating myself. Yeah, and that's what it's talking about here. You know, it's not that they are wrong and we are perfect and this is the best practice. And now, over time, start learning a little more into the mystic Christianity, and this Richard Rohr or Thomas Merton opened my mind completely to really see Christianity in different way. And there is some very parallel, equal to the same Buddhist particularly. So again, this is picking and choosing and trying to alienate myself, and they say, this is what is right when I'm doing. And the silence, I like this definition when they say, what is the difference between genuine silence and the ideal of silence? And sometimes when we start sitting, when I started in the beginning, I was really looking for that, to be in that place where I can be calm and, you know, it's like a tool. And little over time, that was not that more the purpose of this in my sitting, in my practice. The experience of the silence, we're not looking for the silence, the genuine silence, is when we're not looking for a particular experience, but to allow the spacious mind to emerge when thoughts and feelings can come and go without a footprint. That's what we do when we sit in satsang. We have those probably 5 seconds, we are lucky. When in sesshin, we can have a little more time, with more time to that moment. You know, it's when the heart mind is coming down and the body, and we allow that everything start opening up. And we are not looking for something particular. We are not looking to obtain anything. So it's a fullness where nothing is lacking and nothing needs to be complete. So when we're sitting and we feel that, that's a genuine silence. And the moment our mind is trying to look, oh, was a bad sitting, my mind was all, who say that many times, no? And this was not very good sitting, my mind was busy all the time. Well, yes, we're human beings. You know, we wouldn't be here. So this is our practice. We continuously were doing that. We're trying, and we keep trying, and we keep coming back to the question. So when we are, lost my track, hold on. So when we are in this spaciousness, you know, when we are, or in the silence, or mind or heart is just completely calm, and it's when there is no more picking and choosing, and it's when this spaciousness is happening. And it's when they take us to the serenity. Yeah? That is the original condition of the mind-heart. That's what is sunyata? Emptiness. For Taoists, so the other part when talking about here, if you don't live the Tao, so I was just always get a little caught in that when I read this point. What has to do the Taoism here with the Buddhists? So I start reading now for my surprise, which I didn't know, probably you already know this, but I didn't know that in China, in that time when there was Confucianists and Taoists and the Buddhists start coming, the Shang start emerging from the combination of the Taoists and the Buddhists. That's what I was just blown my mind, because I didn't know that. So, because now I understand why so a lot of things in the Taoists. I know a little bit of Taoism through the Qigong, so there is some things that are similar to the same Buddhist. So for Taoists, oneness is the Tao, which means that is the great Tao, that there is no differentiation of any kind. When we get distracted, when we are in the realm of distinctions and differentiations, when we let go, we enter to the Tao, and find serenity. So oneness in Buddhism is the suchness of things. This suchness is things as they are in their present manifestation. In this oneness, we can appreciate both the absolute nature of things, and that's hard, that's the hard part. How can we appreciate the relative? The absolute. The absolute is easy for us to be caught in that, because it's very pleasant, it's very nice. It's sometimes when some people want to do more sessions and want to be sitting more, is when we cling into that space, to be more in that. So it's the natural things and provisional nature. But momentarily, they appear in this causal condition that is the relative, or thoughts, or feelings, and feel uncomfortable. I want just the bell to ring quickly, or more thoughts, my stories coming and going, or by doing my list of things that I need to do. And that's the struggle, no? But that's our everyday life, and how that's what we practice. That's what we come here together to remind us that. So you see in the point that we say here, don't get tangled in the world. Don't lose yourself in emptiness. Be at peace in the oneness of things, and all errors will disappear by themselves. So that's what I was talking about. Okay? Not to just be choosing to be in emptiness, in the absolute. You just get caught in all relative stories and all that. It's easy to say it, but it's not easy to do it, to practice. So as we say in one of our verses, we say, each moment, life as it is, the only teacher, being just this moment. So it's just be here, be what it is, without trying to change, without trying to be better or worse, without trying to be intensive, no noise outside, no problems with technology. That's not possible. So it's really good that we have the noise outside, because that's our practice. When we sit, our mind is very noisy most of the time, probably. So the serenity in the oneness of things is not right with any particular activity. Rather, it's attained through Wu Wei. So Wu Wei is a Chinese word, means no action and no or undoing. So not trying to control the outcome of things. So it's another way to say what we're just talking about. Okay?
Spell that word, I'm sorry.
W-U space W-E-I. So Wu Wei is one of the central ideas of Taoism. So mean action or inaction that take place spontaneously and naturally, but it is the activity or inactivity of the same in whom all traces of self-consciousnness have been washed out.
Can you say that sentence?
I want to say that again. Yes, because this part is really, yes, I really like this. Okay. So rather attaining through Wu Wei, no action or undoing, not trying to control the outcome of things. Wu Wei is one of the central ideas of Taoism, means action or inaction. That the action and inaction is both of them, relative and absolute, that takes place spontaneously, it's happening at the same time. And naturally, but in the activity or inactivity of the same in who all traces of self-consciousness have been washed out.
That last phrase, I didn't quite understand all your words, I think.
Whom all traces of self-consciousness have been washed out.
So all traces of self-consciousness
Yes.
are washed out?
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah.
In
So,
Wu Wei? That's in Wu Wei.
in Wu Wei. Well, that's the, yeah. So it's basically what it's talking about here is the saying of suchness, of emptiness, shunyata. It's different words. Okay? Because absolute and relative is always there, you know? And but that's what the poem talk about that. Is sometimes we get caught and we cling because the absolute is very nice and we want that more. Or sometimes we forget it's in there and we are more in the relative world with our stories, our suffering, our drama, and all that. So it's that we're saying, how when we're sitting, it's all that washing out, all those self-conditioning, all self-consciousness. So we can see both of them. We can see relative and we can see absolute. It's not be only in the absolute and not only be in the relative. And the part is the awareness, no? When do we caught ourselves that we are almost more in the absolute? We want this, the grasping. Or we are just get caught in just the relative. We know the absolute is there, but I cannot do how to letting go this. And that's the practice in sitting. Help us. And that's what we're seeing, coming back to the cushion. So we are always trying to fix things according to our own preferences. Why we don't have this? Why do I have this? I need this. Why I don't need this? I need now this more. So it's always this constantly, you know? It's only me that's doing that? Okay, because I was thinking, probably I'm the only one that's human being here. You see? So, but the relief on all this is not about, oh yes, it's so much this, but the absolute's there. The Wu Wei, the oneness is there. We don't need to look for that. It's always there. but we are more used to the relative. We are constantly in that. And it's our conditions, we have our conditions that we carry that for not only for me it's 57, but all the conditions, my generations, my family, my ancestors, and as a human being, all what we're carrying. And that's what we're seeing now in the world, that's what we're seeing. So the quality of serenity. So when we are seeing this preference and choosing and clinging that we are, and suddenly when we know all of them, they are present there, and we letting go our preference, or we letting go our conditioning. So we are right to this space of serenity. So the quality of serenity, of equanimity. So basically equanimity was a word that really took me so long for me to understand when I was studying the Brahma Vihara. Okay? But equanimity no es something, it's just happening. It's just happening spontaneously. The more we practice, the more we are in that space, a space of serenity, that we know, oh yes, and get caught in this, and I see that. And that equanimity can come to us, and I can see more clearly my own conditions and my own preference. So when we allow things to be just as they are, how many times we try to be things just as they are, in their suchness of oneness. Activity and passivity are using a sense of trying to control things rather than letting them flourish without interruption. That's Lao Tzu. He said this, he's a Chinese. That's it's a really very important part. How can we let things to be just the way they are? Not the way we want to be, not the way society, culture, family things needs to be. So there's a little rebellious, no? Because now we just go and do whatever you want. But just to be true with yourself in every moment in your lives. Everything that we do is this, and checking with your body. What's my body saying? And mine, yes, or mine's more conditions. Yeah, I can listen to I don't say not to listen to your mind, but I always listen first my body. I'm always trying to see when something is like off, and I can feel that in my body. And I say, oh, okay, something is it's off in here. So I'm trying to take a little pause when I can. And that pause and stop, I notice it's a little more easy to do it. Like it was before, many years ago. Many years ago, I was just having the reaction, and I can notice later after the reaction. But I noticed literally, and I remember this many years ago, the peg talk, it's Djokovic, that the space started getting shorter and shorter. So no, it was Peg or Djokovic, somebody say that. And it's true.
Shorter and shorter.
It's getting shorter. Like for example, you have any situation and you have a reaction through your own conditions. Mm-hmm. And you respond, and later you say, oh shoot, I make a mistake, sorry. And sometimes not even sorry, you don't realize that until somebody says something. Yes, really.
Well, isn't that why Peg encouraged us to use that form called the learning record?
Yes, we use it.
Because it allows you to put it in writing, and then she said over time, maybe it may be months, it might be years, you'll notice these patterns of what incites that sense of I want my preference now.
Yeah, but it's the thing, is all these conditions are just layers and layers, okay? So when you do answer what you're saying, Mary Beth, is you respond, you have a reaction, and sometimes you are unaware that you did something until somebody tell you. Almost, you are lucky, somebody tell you, say, hey, I didn't feel blah, 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 right the way you say this, or you did this. And you are open to really listen, it's nice, and sometimes you are not open and you have your own views and your preference, no? And there is no space to this conversation and connection. And that's the space that I'm talking about, start getting shorter. The more you practice, the more you're sitting. The next time you probably are going to be open when somebody says something and you're able to listen. And the next time, probably you are going to be able to notice it and say, oops, sorry, I make a mistake, I did this. And next time, probably you notice before the action happened. And the more and more we practice, next time, probably you notice all in your body, I start feeling anger, start something here, and start feeling upset, and start feeling sadness or whatever, feeling something in my body, and I start connecting what is the emotions that are in there present. And if the situation, the person allow me, that I can in that moment open up. I do that with spiritual friends, that I can say that, and I know they are not going to defensive, and I'm not going to feel judged or great, because that's very important, to feel in a space that they are not judged, they are not critic. It's very important for the system to feel safe, to open up. And that's what we do in practice discussion, because that's safe space that we can just talk. And we can develop those safe space with people around us. So that's what I'm talking about, that space start getting shorter. So I'm going to give an example, because and it just happened. It's not something that you think and say, oh my God, let me do the space more shorter. Let's do, now I'm going to do better than last time, blah, blah, blah. It's because we get caught again with the same thing, trying to do something. It's just keep practice, keep a bit aware. Awareness is very important. We know that. And we notice in our actions in everyday life. And the thing, it was funny for me, because I was just in Mexico 2 weeks ago with my family. And I have 2 incidents, but it was very important. I think the most one, it was first with my sister, that I don't see very, very often. So I noticed that she was very reactive, and the way she was acting out with one of my niece and all that. And I just step out and start saying, but no arguing. I was just very in this space. Hey, I noticed this. She was very reactive. She was not in that moment open to listen what I was going to say. And I was noticing myself, suddenly I was just in the fixing mode, trying to say, hey, blah, blah, blah. And she was more reactive, so I stepped out and said, okay, I don't think it's time to talk, and just went to the room. And suddenly when I just laid down, in that moment just came to me like, boom, clearly, like I was like surprised, say, oh wow, I cannot fix her. This is not my responsibility. I love her, I care of her, but in that moment, it was so clear that I was not upset, I was frustrated. It's like I was seeing something, but she didn't want to see it. So after that, I just come back and I just told her, I love you and I'm here for you, whatever you want. In any way that I can help you, I'm here. And for me, that was a big relief. So probably I wouldn't do that if you asked me 5 years ago. Okay? So, and that's what I'm talking about. So it's the trying to control things the way we want, rather than letting them flourish without interruption. So we continue with Wu Wei. It's not doing itself highest form of doing and not doing. It's not a state of being catatonic. It's not like, okay, I'm not going to do anything. Yeah? But rather a skillful choice. Thing is like what happened with my sister, no? It was just like say, okay, I'm not saying I don't want to talk to you, blah, 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 and reactive to, I will say, okay, I meet you, and I hear. And I'm going to respect, even though it's hard for me, but I need to do that. And more because in our culture in Latin America, we're always like all together and trying to help each other. It's not so much like here that we are independency and, this is July, it's my space. We don't talk about that. There is no space. So for that, it's I take into space when I say I'm going to take my space. They're going, what are you talking about? Because there's not that. But it's okay, and that's the extremes, no? And here's too much space. And here is I need to make appointments with my friends to see and schedule calendar. It's so weird for me. And in Latin America, this is spontaneity. Oh, let's go together. Yeah, let's go together. Okay, so it's the two extremes. How can we be more open, more spontaneous, not so much in our own views and preference, more individualistic, more open. So a condition of serenity in which one does not, a condition of serenity in which one does one's best according to one's ability and the circumstances, but also one has the spaciousness to allow things to unfold according to their causes and conditions. So let me repeat that. So it's not about being catatonic, about doing or not doing, but more rather a skillful choice, okay? It's a condition of the condition of serenity. The serenity I'm talking about is the emptiness, in which one does one's best according to one's ability. So we do our best, what we can do, according to our circumstances. But has the spaciousness to allow things to unfold according to the causes and conditions. So one has the vision to accept the results of such unfolding without any struggle. So that's one of the big problems, no? Because we always struggle when we have something. Why did I have this? I didn't happen the way I wanted. And the mind goes going. So this is what it's talking about. Is like the water, So the water has this serenity quality, you see. And the water doesn't care about if he's in a bowl, or he's in a bucket, or he's in the river, or he's in the ocean. Doesn't care where the water is going to be. It's just water. And it's still that serenity quality. So how can we just be in that trying to remember? It's not, this is who I am, da da da. No, I don't know who I am. I really don't know. And I remember Norman Fisher was saying something that really struck me, and I really love it when he said, we don't know who we are. And he said, I don't know who I am. Do you know who I am? He was asking his group. And I was like, say, oh, yes. He said, it's just be yourself amazed every day, the way you are right now, this moment. Just the way you are. That's enough. Without looking anything special, without trying to reach anything. So either extreme is our idea of how things should be. All our ideas are rooted in our preferences for this or that. Knowing the oneness is experiencing the quality of being at ease. Knowing the oneness is experiencing the quality of being at ease, like the water. Being serene, being equanimous. So in all the unfolding of things. So oneness is Buddha nature itself. To be completely at ease with one's own conditioned mind. So this is the hard part, no? Without holding on to anything or rejecting anything, is to know oneness. So I think I really like this as put in my bathroom and just remember every time when I read it. I have in my bathroom, like, life as it is, the only teacher. And that reminds me every time, every day. If we don't live the oneness or Tao, any assertion or denial is in the realms of the conceptual, and we fall into relative or absolute. So letting go of all views that we have, all of them, means disengaging oneself from the realm of the abstract. Conceptual reality and stepping into the world of mind-body experience. In this very moment, right now, not tomorrow, not next week, just right now, where we are. There is no denial or assertion, it's part of the point, in the witnesses of the wind. And I like this part. There is no denial or assertion in the witnesses of flower blooming in the spring, of the fish swimming in the water. It's just happening. The flower is not saying, I want to bloom. Oh, it's spring, I need to bloom that. Or the fish just is the water, let me go this way, this other way. It's just they are. And we are the ones that we put the categorization, you know? Oh, the flower didn't bloom, it's spring, what's happening, but you know this. Instead to you, oh, the flower is here. Look at that. Just to look, to appreciate that. Instead of trying to fix it. Well, it needs water, you need to put water, no? Don't make me wrong. It's not about that just looking the flower is dying and you just see it's dying. But do you know do you get the point that I'm talking about here? Yes? Mm-hmm. Is that how can we do that? Because it's easy to do with outside, you know, with the plants, or beautiful dog, look at the plant, or look at the sunset, the beautiful things, we really get trapped. What about like now, all the workers are doing that low noise, but what a nice thing that they are repairing the street. And just turns towards yourself. Oh, what wonderful I am. Just the way I am right now, without changing anything. With my pains, my condition, my struggles, with everything. We're just like a flower blooming. So we miss this when we categorize, I say, the bloom in the spring, and spending our time and energy defending or becoming prisoners of ignorant thoughts process. So just the poem really invites us to that. Just how can we release ourselves through our own conditions? So language is another problem. Language is a good way to communicate, no? But, and I really like this because language is a representation of reality itself. We ended up creating a dead-end construct for ourselves that leads to existential despair. So the problem is not how the language is used, it's how the language is used by the grasping mind. And I'm really more aware in the language, and I talk in my culture, because sometimes it's this culture, family, you will have expressions in my culture that we use. And I will use, and I noticed that for the last year, I'm more aware when I use it out, like in Mexico, I say, in my family, so how are you doing, everyone? Oh, very good, very good. And I say, and I always respond quickly like that. And suddenly when I cut myself, I say, oh no, I'm not feeling good. The person just look at me, oh, what happened? Because they're not used to that response. They're used to say, oh yes, we're good, very good. You know, yes.
I didn't understand what you read previously.
With the language?
Yes.
Okay, is the language is the representation of reality itself. We ended up creating a dead-end construct of ourselves.
We end up creating what?
A dead-end
A dead end. Okay.
construct for ourselves that leads to existential despair.
What leads to?
Existential despair. So you need to start learning Spanish. Next time I'm going to do it in Spanish. Yeah.
It's a dead-end construct that leads to existential despair.
Yeah,
That makes sense.
exactly. Because so many times we use the language.
Yeah. Now we had our hand up.
Okay, hold on. So many times we use the language without thinking, lack of awareness, because it's just the way, you know, in the family culture, and we just say it, you know. And that's what it's talking. You want to say something, Nelly?
No, it was hands clapping for the Spanish Dharma Talk.
Thank you.
Oh, okay.
Jeanette is voting for
Yeah, I know. I was Jeanette and Nelly, yeah,
Okay, I didn't recognize the hand clapping, so
yeah.
another language.
Yeah, the true nature of things happen only when the internal chatter has been brought to a complete stop. Okay? And sometimes that happens when we are sitting. So all this,
Sandra, I'm sorry, could you repeat that sentence right before? Thank you.
the true nature,
Yeah.
the true nature of things happen only when the internal chatter has been brought to a complete stop. So miraculous things can happen. It's like being in the jungle. So it's like being in the jungle. When you're in the jungle, just to be honest, and we are going to do some practice, breakout rooms. So it's like when we're in the jungle. Just imagine for me the jungle, but imagine any beautiful place in nature that you like, where it's animals and it's a lot of things happen, and you are just an observer. And don't say about it's hot, it's cold, no, just observing. You're just present, observing. And when do you notice that? And you're just observing, oh, a monkey's there, the flowers. There is no any categorization. There is no the child, oh, should be that, or the tree needs to be this way, the monkey should be this way, Oh, and our preferences. Bridget is an architect, they say, oh, they shouldn't do this padding here. Environment is, they shouldn't hear this, why they have so much here, da. So what happens if we just observe? So just to end up this, or give us time for practice, the mind that is completely still is at rest and delighted in the taste of tranquility. This is a rare, miraculous taste in this moment of stillness. The phenomenal and the psychological world reveals themselves. So we are going to do a practice. So what I want to think is doing, I think it would be better to do groups of 2 people. And here in the center, we are going to do 3 and 2, okay? So the practice is going to be this. We are going to have 3 minutes to sit in silence. Let me see, we have, how much time do we have? 20 minutes, 25?
24, yeah.
24, okay. 3 minutes in silence. So 24 minutes only? Okay, so we are going to have 5 minutes writing and 5 minutes each one is going to share. So in the 5 minutes writing, this is what you are going to write. So just write any situation or any particular person or with yourself that you have lately some encounter, yeah, or with yourself, and just write down everything what is happening in your mind, your thoughts. Just you're going to be observing. You're not going to do anything. Observing what are the thoughts that you have, what are your feelings that you have, what are the sensations in your body. And very simple. Tight, unease. Okay, very, very simple.
Thoughts, feelings,
sensations.
sensation.
Mm-hmm.
And what is this situation again that we're thinking
Any kind of situation with somebody, or with a personal situation, or a place.
Is it something that has happened or something
That just happened, or
that's
something that
going
you.
to happen, or?
No, that just happened. They just happen.
Kind of like the situation you described with your sister?
Like kind of situation like was happened with my sister. Yeah. Or can be with yourself, You're feeling very upset or very sad. So, or you are annoyed with the noise outside. It's not let you sit. So anything. So let's do that, and after that, you are going to have 5 minutes each one to share. And in those 5 minutes, when you are sharing, the person that's listening, there is no cross-talking, the person that's listening, just be aware, what do you notice in her body, your partner? What do you notice her body language, okay? And just look at with curiosity, not trying to find like this something.